All right. I think we are set here. And if the chat room says if there's anyone in it, because we're at our weird time, if there's anyone in it, then see, and you know what? That's what I did for this shot. I've got to get the keyboard shortcuts set back up. I'll tell you what, for everything that Wirecast does, and as amazing as they are, there are so many little idiosyncrasies and weirdnesses
that are just wrong.
Yeah. I want to teach you how to get these on the phone things set up because
that would be easy for me to do.
Jeffrey Zellman is not our guest today, and that's not set up, and I have no images. So while we get people set up, you could do something really helpful. Oh, you're putting on makeup?
No, I was putting my lipstick on.
It looks good.
But I look like a regular lady.
All grown up.
All grown up. Okay, so you need one
in mommy's makeup. Could you set up? Could you find a great picture of Jordan?
Yes.
And then also a great picture of Virginia, which we have.
We have
from her.
Lovely ones.
I would pull ones from their avatars.
Yeah.
Just pull them from their avatars, and then we can use those for the little thing. And next time we'll just have it done. But if you could save those right onto this machine, that would be phenomenal.
I think I'm going to use this one for Jordan instead of that one.
That's a good picture, but just go with the regular one, so
like
because he's going to be on first, and he gets he's
fancy.
All business. That guy.
Oh yeah, see, he's scary actually.
Business. Oh yeah, he's very scary.
Okay, so I got that one.
Today is Friday.
It is. It is March 20th, and the year is 2015. Yeah.
I think Jordan likes the orange color, but we don't have an orange one.
I know.
What do you think of that?
I think red is fine.
We gotta get a digital thing.
Yeah, it'll make everything a little bit easier. Roberts.
What's supposed to go in this one over here?
That one?
Yeah, what am I supposed to put over there?
Maybe the word of the week or...
There is no word of the week.
Or word of the day.
There's no word of the week, so...
We're
gonna get.
You could put the prices for Katy Perry 1,000, Chip Kelly 500.
Yeah.
So give the top three.
The top three. Oh right. See, I've got my shots all different today. So number 1 is Katy Perry.
That's 1,000. Yeah, those markers are not meant for...
2 is Chip Kelly.
I did a little research on Chip Kelly, but...
Good guy. Who's going to be number 3?
Who else would you just... Howard Stern?
I do not have any interest in interviewing Howard Stern.
Then who?
I don't know. What else you got?
Dan Patrick. That'd be a fun one. Or do you need one that's non-sports?
No, I want somebody who's not a talk show host.
Oh.
They have to be a celebrity. Celebrity in entertainment, celebrity in sports.
I'm thinking.
This was not a decaf. Oh, good.
No, you said it is not a decaf tea.
I'll just leave 3 up there.
3? Let's take
sometime during the show.
Pitches from the chat room.
Yeah, we can do suggestions from that.
Okay, I've put the 3 photos into the people one.
Did you adjust the volume of my headphones?
I didn't touch your headphones at all.
So it seems like you did.
So what do you need me to do?
Could you turn my headphones down a little bit, please?
Yeah.
Just very slight, because you're very shrill and it's hurting my ears.
How about there?
Yeah, and turn
mine up.
Turn yours way up. Turn yours up so much that it hurts.
Well, I did that last time, and you're like, you're being too
quiet. Yeah, then you were too quiet.
Okay, so I have both Virginia and Jordan's photos in there for you
Great.
to
And you
drop
saved
in.
them to that machine?
I saved them into the Wirecast people folder.
Oh my gosh, you're on fire today.
Boom.
Boom.
But I didn't do the individual. I didn't make the things.
No, you
'Cause
can't.
you have to do
yeah,
that
I have
over
to do
there.
that right
Okay.
here. Right.
Make the things.
Make the thing. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. All right. Adding a picture. Let's see who's in there. People. And I see, as usual, they do not show up. I think this has to be a bug with Wirecast. Another bug we've discovered.
Because I see it's the Wirecast as a little
no,
shared
I don't see them
folder.
in there at all. Wirecast people. I see. Oh, there's Jordan.
And
but
then
I don't see Virginia.
Oh, I don't see Virginia in there either. Where did that go?
Uh-huh.
Did I just name?
Let's
Yep.
see. Do you think Jordan's
How
gonna
about
look good in
there?
here? Oh, he's gonna
Virginia's
look
in
good in here. He's crazy in there. Look at his little face there. I'll show you. I gotta update the look at him in there. Isn't that cute?
Oh, Jordan.
This is the stuff the intern should do
Yes.
before
the show.
the
Pre-show.
show. And what is he? He is BLENDERHD
HD.
with an E in there?
Yes, BLENDER.
It's not. You're sure there's an E in there?
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I just looked up.
Look at him. Look how good he looks. And then you said Virginia's is here now.
And yes.
You're sure?
Yep.
All right.
Yes, with an E in there. I just
With
double
an E.
checked. And hers is Ask Virginia.
I don't see that in there.
Her photo?
Oh, now Virginia Roberts is in there. There it is. There she goes. There she goes. And I like that she's on the phone with the phone. You're going to like that. Virginia Roberts.
It makes it seem more like she is on the phone. Even more so.
Oh,
I think that should be our requirement. If you're going to call into the show, you have to take a picture of yourself on the phone, and then we use that.
She only got this notice that we were doing this at the last minute. Look at that. See, they're all set up. This is all good stuff to do before. I think people who watch the video like this.
I think so too.
I think they like this.
I like it.
Oh, good. I know it's a big time commitment for you to do that.
Oh, I like your system.
My Rudy's cup.
Your system, yeah.
All right, and now I can. You've tweeted it, so I can retweet it. Is that what you're saying? And okay, I'll actually tweet a new one then because
did it not go?
I don't know what that means. So
why do I have to tweet? Oh, you're tweeting a new one.
Yeah, I've got a tweet from my phone.
I understand.
Why does it show our location as Allendale in my locations?
I don't know.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yes, it does that to me too. Allendale.
Oh, and Jordan's tweeting. Are you retweeting everything he does from the 5x5?
I can do that.
Yeah. Everything he tweets from now on. I want you to tweet from the account.
Just retweet every
single thing that he tweets. Just retweet it. Can you tell I have too many? What's going on here? This is insanity. Do you see all these mice?
There's mice everywhere.
Can't keep track of everything here. It's craziness. All right. And you didn't take the thing live in the preview. That's too bad.
I did too.
That's too bad.
I just did it. I updated it and everything.
Oh, and I found so there's that follow-up from yesterday's show about Bennu. Turns out the show's name is The Phoenix. We'll cover that. We've got a lot of great links today. Oh, yeah. Do you know that YouTube syncs up? It syncs up where you left off. Did you know that?
I did not.
It does that. All right. I'm loving this new shot that you set up for me there. Oh, look, I still got the little on the phone. But see, we didn't finish that. You never finished your...
What?
You never finished perfecting the lower third.
What did you want to do?
I'm not a designer.
No.
I'm not a designer, okay? I leave that in your capable hands. I don't know. Whatever you think I should. And there's still no stickers. Still no stickers on there.
You never specified which stickers, and I'm not going to put anything on
Austin sticker.
It's right there on my desk. You want me to grab it?
Nope. That's something that could be done before the show. But thank you for your late attempt to correct the mistake. I appreciate that.
I told you I wanted to get the show ready, and you were like, nope.
Right, but I don't know what that means.
Right, that's everything.
Okay, I didn't know that. Sorry for not knowing everything in your brain.
Duh.
Okay. I'm ready.
I am ready too.
Friday, March 20th. This is the Dan Benjamin Hour for Friday, March 20th, 2015. We're recording at a new time here in Austin, Texas, and therefore where you are, too. We're trying something a little bit different. I've noticed that by the end of the day, you get all the good links. That's what happens, Hattie Cook. That's when you get all the good links. But that's not what's important because the show is not about news. When I originally started thinking about the time, and when we would do this, I was thinking, okay, I want to be available for people in the West Coast, right? I want to be available to them. I want to make the show something that we can air live and get a lot of live listeners and people interacting because eventually we want to do calls and things like that, right? I mean, all of this sounds reasonable to you, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, so we were doing this thing we were starting it here at 3 our time, 4 Eastern time. That would cover all those bases, and then people could listen. But the fact is, sometimes there's post-production on the show. It delays the show, and people don't get it till the next day, and then it's all super old. So I have rendered a new decision, and we will be doing this show at 10 a.m. Central, 11 Eastern, and this is very early, 8 a.m. for Pacific people. But if Pacific people want to be on this, people in PT people can wake up a little early. Do it from home. Do it before work.
In your jammies.
Does that seem reasonable? Yeah. Does that seem reasonable to you?
I think so.
That's all you have to say about it. You think so? I mean, you're producing the show, so what do you think about it?
I think that it's a good idea. Yes, it's a little early, but I think that they can... think of it as a restful time.
If you ask them, I think that they'll be fine with it.
Why?
Because you have your voice sounds nice.
I have a nice voice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It sounds nice, and they've done studies that show that people respond better to a woman's voice asking for something than a man's voice asking for something.
Interesting.
Like okay, here's an example of something we should try later today. We'll take a car. We'll find an old car, beat up car. We'll steal it if we have to. And we'll take it and we'll put it on the side of the road. We'll open up the hood so it's clear that that is a universal, just like pointing like this at your neck is a universal sign that you're choking. Did you know that? You should know that.
Really?
This is not with your pointer finger, with your thumb. You point with your thumb toward your neck. I don't know, but that is the international.
I would do this if I was choking.
That would look like, well, that's like more like if you're being choked. Yeah, that's more like if you're being choked. But I think if you are choking, it's this. Right? Anyway, this means choking. So, just like that's the universal symbol for that. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with this. So let's do a show. We've got some great guests with us today. We've got Jordan Cooper, and we've got what is it that you're working on over there all the time? What are you working on?
I'm going back and forth between chat room.
Anything good in the chat room happening? Are they
well, I'm trying to get them all into the DBH chat room.
We just need to shut down the 5x5.
They're ignoring me.
Yeah, they don't care. We've got Jordan Cooper on the show. Longtime fan of his. He's brought a show as an experimental. He's brought a show to 5x5 to experiment with. And we have another big show announcement, Virginia Roberts, or Robertson.
As you like to call her.
Yeah, Virginia Robertson will be on the show. Longtime listener and fan. She used to be a chronic caller on Quit. She's here today to announce her new show, Steady, and some other things. She wants to talk about Tinder, because Tinder apparently is evil. Is that all right? 4 sponsors that we've got here?
I do a good job.
All right, too good. But yesterday, we've got a little bit of follow-up. Yesterday, I was having a hard time remembering the name of a show that was on from the 80s about a dude who went into the, I guess he was from the future. He came from Egypt or something. Anyway, thanks to, who's the person that found it, Hattie?
I believe his name, hold on, we were tweeted.
Oh, by the way, this is the Automan intro. Remember I was telling you about the Automan intro? YouTube gets angry if you embed, see, there's the car, the Automan car. It looks like a Lamborghini and there he is in there, driving really fast. Look how fast the car is going.
Oh, man.
See how it did the 90-degree turn? It's like Tron. Des Arnaz Jr. in that. So there's a whole, this is a compilation of a whole bunch of video intros. So this is in the show notes. We also have the one that I was talking about. I think it'll let me jump right to it. Here is the intro to the Egyptian dude. He's actually from like another planet, and he's here and he's looking for his girlfriend. His girlfriend knows the secret of his power. Well, it turns out that the actor in this, I forget the guy's name right off the top of my head, but the actor in this was Khan's right-hand man in the second Star Trek movie, The Wrath of Khan.
Really?
Yeah, this is Khan's right-hand man. Now, you know Khan from the new Star Trek where he had no right-hand man.
Right. He was the only man.
Right. He was the only man. Well, in this situation, this is the wrath of Khan's right-hand man. And he's Bennu, the lead character in the Phoenix. So
the winner was Bill, I believe it's Sabolt.
Bill Sabolt, thank you very much. Bill is getting, what is he getting? Is he getting a mug, or what are you sending it? Can you show what people win when they win something on this? Speaking of winning things, I have put up on the board behind me. It's hard to see because we need something better than a chalkboard. We need some kind of digital display. So listeners, help me out. What should we put back there? But anyway, you can see my list. Number 1 is Katy Perry. And number 2, I've got Chip Kelly. And number 3 is blank. Because you said I should take a listener suggestion
of like the coolest person.
Someone I should interview, and you will get $1,000, or you or Greg.
Tim Cook.
I don't. He's been interviewed enough. I'm not. This is not an Apple show.
I know.
Everyone else can
interview
everyone.
People.
He's cool, but he's not for this
Jay-Z.
show. Okay.
Boom.
All right.
Or Beyonce.
No.
Yeah.
No, you can interview her on your show. But
she will not come on my show. I already know it.
So yes, Jay-Z. In fact, I'll write up Jay-Z. Can you describe, Hattie, what I'm doing as I do?
Yes. You are turning around in your chair and you're getting the new markers out, the yellow marker, and you're going to write the third person to get on the show. I don't know. Jay-Z.
All right. So I now have 3 people up on my list. Jay-Z. I will give you or Greg, whoever nails it first, a $1,000 bonus if you get Katy Perry. $500 for Chip Kelly. $500 for Jay-Z.
That's it? Jay-Z's $500? Really?
You know, I'll tell you why. Because I feel like Katy Perry talking to her on the phone would change my whole game.
Would it?
It would change my whole game.
I feel like Jay-Z would be a great Grit guest.
Well, he's not going to be on Grit.
I know.
This is just for this show.
I know. I'm just saying, just in general.
No, he'd be amazing. But I'll tell you what. If he gets offended that he's only a $500 bonus, then maybe that'll get him on. I'm hoping to kind of get him a little bit angry. So speaking of getting angry, we have 4 sponsors today for this show. And the first one I'll tell you about is Audible, the internet's leading provider of spoken word entertainment, information, and educational programming. You want to listen to a great book. I'm going to be on I can't say where I'm going, but I'm going to be on a little bit of a road trip coming up. And my kid, when he goes in the car for a long period of time, does not sleep. My kids do not sleep. They barely sleep at night. So he's going to be busy with his iPad, and I'll talk to him as much as he'll allow. But in the time that I don't talk to him, I'll be listening to an Audible book. I haven't decided which one. I think I'm going to listen to that Mars. The one about Mars, a crash on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that winds up on Mars. Everyone except me has read that, and they say it's outstanding. So I'm going to listen to the unabridged version of that, I think. But that's how this works. You download the book to your iOS device, Android, Kindle Fire, Windows Phone, 500 MP3 players they support. And you get all these great features like 30-second rewind. You get chapter navigation. And when you get the books, you own the books. That's how this works. You own them. They're yours. You own them. They're yours. That's the amazing part. Special URL to get yourself a free book and support this show in the process is audiblepodcast.com/Dan sent me. audiblepodcast.com/Dan sent me. Go there. Check it out. So another thing we were looking at right before the show here, Hattie, is there is now an international trailer out for Mad Max Fury Road. And we can just show a little bit of this clip here because YouTube gets angry when I embed stuff. But we have this here if you're watching the video, but you can just go and get this right from the links. This movie looks amazing. Have you watched this? You watched this preview.
I have. It looks very, very cool.
I am very excited for this movie. I'm always a little hesitant about when they're going to remake a movie that was or continuous series or whatever you want to call it. of a movie that was so influential and important to me as a child. And the Mad Max movies, all of them, were great, great, great movies that I just remember just so enjoying and loving when I was a kid. I actually didn't see them in the right order. I saw the second Mad Max movie and the Thunderdome movie and those before I ever saw the original Mad Max. I think that was the way it was for a lot of people. But those are great. That's a great series of movies. And Heidi, you were telling me that you have never seen
I have not.
Any of these movies.
No, but I would like to.
Well, Mad Max, there were a number of these movies, and I think that that it's important to see them in order now. So I maintain that you need to go back and see them in the right order, starting with just the first one, Mad Max, because it is important. The thing for me was the cars in this thing were just amazing. There is what was called an Interceptor, and people have made replicas of these amazing cars. He drove a yellow Interceptor. It was a 1974 Ford Falcon XB sedan, previously a Victorian police car. And these things are amazing cars, are so cool. You just remember these cars from the movie if you watch this. It's just so crazy. What a cool movie. And Mel Gibson, of course, playing the title role of Mad Max. And, you know, it's anything that's dystopian future, I'm going to like it. Automatically, I'm going to like a dystopian movie. I love it. Mad Max is especially cool because he was this guy who was essentially good, and then he turned bad, but he was still good. And all these scenes from like the Thunderdome movie are like burned into my mind. You know, the whole scene with Master Blaster going down, and then when he gets lowered into the pigs, it's just so creepy. Like there's this creepy vibe about these shows that just stays with you forever, these movies. So we've got a new one coming out that I'm pretty excited about. We've also there's a new ad for the Age of Ultron. That's coming out May 1st. May the 1st. I'm pretty excited about this. I love the Marvel movies. I'm not even a fan of the Avengers. I only really like Iron Man. I'm not really a fan of the Avengers in general, but this movie looks amazing.
I'm excited about it.
Who's your favorite Avenger? Hawkeye?
No. It'd have to be
Black Widow?
No.
You asked me this morning, does Black Widow have any powers?
Well, I was just looking at her. I was like, yeah, I remember now. She doesn't have any.
Yeah, she has no special powers.
I'm smart and I can jump around and
she's
stuff.
Smart. I mean, she has powers compared to a regular human, but she's not have superpowers.
Right.
That's what you mean. She's got powers, just not superpowers.
Correct.
There she is right there. Combat training.
Maybe she's just a highly trained person.
She's very highly trained. She can do accents. She can speak languages.
Also,
she's an espionage type person.
I have a bit of follow-up.
Oh.
The international sign for choking is
this thing you were doing?
Is the thing I was doing. Just saying. Transition sent that in the chat room.
So can you demonstrate for the video people?
Oh, if I was choking?
Because how come? Okay, let me ask you that, Miss. I know everything.
That's just my first idea.
Most of the things that I learned from the movie The Fifth Element, and when he's choking in The Fifth Element, what does he do?
Yeah, he's like,
and if Zurg, right?
Uh-huh.
So if Zurg does it, then it's good enough for me to do it.
But maybe that's the evolved.
But see, I live in the 23rd century right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you please demonstrate?
Yes, I believe it's the left hand.
Does it have to be left hand over the right hand?
I don't know.
Do you have to do that grimace that you're doing? Do you have to stick your tongue out?
Everyone seems to be doing that face. See the grimace, grimace.
Yeah, no, you're accurate.
You have to. You can't just.
Right, because then it just looks okay. So
your neck is cold.
So I have been corrected. The correct gesture. I won't say international, but it's your two hands up like this.
Yes.
Not Zurg style.
Not that.
Zurg style title.
I think what he was doing was you need to hit me on the back so that the cherry pit comes out.
Zurg style.
Yeah.
Can you jot that down as a title?
Hashtag.
As a title.
Yes.
Now, before I get to these calls, there's a couple quick things as we circle the globe here. The Star Trek USS Enterprise sushi set has just been unveiled on ThinkGeek. Thanks to Boing Boing for this link. These are the sushi of the Starship Enterprise. This thing is too crazy.
It's so cute.
It is a sushi set. You know how sushi's brought out to? See, now I want to eat sushi. How it's brought out to you on a little wooden board. You stack the sushi on it. Well, they've got for your little place where you put the soy sauce or the tamari, if you're smart. They've got it is the top of the Enterprise dome that just lifts off, and it's this thing. You've got to see this. $35 over at Think Geek. I love this thing. It's just too cool. I had to mention that. I had to put it in there. Now, who is Suge Knight? It's not pronounced Suge.
No. It's Suge Knight.
Suge Knight. Who is Suge Knight, and what has he done?
I believe he is a rapper, and he has done something very wrong very recently.
So you believe he's done something wrong because you watched the video?
Yes, but that's why I said I believe he's done something wrong.
Well,
I'm not.
I'll tell you what he did.
I need to know more.
He apparently ran some people over. We watched this video here at the office last week, I think. He was in a Tam's Burger parking lot, and he ran over and killed a man named Terry Carter. And he is, apparently they're saying he has a life of crime. And they describe him as the prosecutor in this murder case describes him as a prolific and unrepentant criminal. But this is one of those things that, and the reason I mention this, I don't recommend watching the video. It's pretty brutal and horrible, actually.
It is. It's scary.
And I mean, I don't take any enjoyment from seeing people hurt or
it's
whatever.
It's a little graphic.
A very graphic video of someone that seems to be him in a car, driving over people. It's terrible. And anyway, this is something that there's video of everything now. I mean, anywhere you go, you're probably, especially apparently in England, it's very popular, but anywhere you go, you are potentially under some kind of video surveillance. There isn't much privacy when you're out and about. And in many cases like this one, this might help bring somebody who's done something terrible to justice, because if you're in a car and in a parking lot and you run someone over and it's on tape and that's you in the car and it's your car, I mean, what's he going to do? Say it wasn't me driving it?
Right. I mean, that wasn't me.
He's on. Well, that wasn't me. Well, you're clearly visible. Well, that was someone that just looked like me who happened to be in my car. Well,
right.
Who was the person? I don't know. The car was stolen. I mean, what can you?
Right. Why didn't you report the car stolen? It's a mess.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's fascinating to me when I think about how surveilled in a regular day, how surveilled we are. We don't know it. But when you walk in the mall, when you're in a parking lot, when you're certainly at a bank, maybe when you're in an office, there's a lot of surveillance in an office now. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just something you should be aware of. If you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, there's probably a camera on you as you're doing it.
Yeah.
So speaking of people who do things that they should not be doing. I want to get Jordan on here. We're going to start with him because Virginia, she's back in Seattle where they're still asleep.
We'll let her wake up
Jordan.
a little
He's
bit
ready
more.
to go, right? I mean, he's a pro, right? So I mean, he's already.
I
ready
believe
to
so.
go.
Did you tell him to be ready?
He's always ready. Oh, he's listening.
Right.
That's you, Jordan.
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, man, how are you doing today?
Good.
Thanks for being here, and congratulations to you on the success of this show that you do. I'll tell you what, you're killing it with the morning dump.
Thank you. I'm shocked. I'm shocked and appalled.
What's a great? Okay, so first of all, what is the show, and tell people a little bit about the show.
Well, if you don't know the Urban Dictionary or a common use of the phrase "morning dump," that is the amazing way to start your day. Emptying your bowels into the toilet right when you wake up in the morning. And essentially, the morning dump is my version of, because you do the best show on the internet.
That's true.
Right. This the Dan Benjamin hour.
Right.
This is kind of like my version of that.
Okay.
Half an hour in the morning, but with my personality. So essentially that means In a half an hour, I probably curse about 620 times.
But that's not I mean, that's your style. That's what you do. That's how you roll. And I've been a big fan of this show. How many episodes you done? About 30 now?
Yeah, 6.5 weeks every day, Monday through Friday.
And how does this fit into your schedule? Because a lot of people are podcasting and they're thinking, man, it's hard to do the show once a week. You know, it's hard to just get everything together and do the show. You're cranking one of these things out, you know, every single day, along with the other shows. You do at least 2 other shows. You guest on other shows. You're busy doing. You're a stand-up comic as well, but you also have. Can I say what else you do, or is that a secret?
You could say whatever you'd like.
Okay. You also have a web design development consultancy. Like, how do you fit all this stuff in a day? You know what I'm saying? Like, how is that in a day? And then other podcasters can't do 1 show a week.
They're lazy.
Just laziness. You've got an amazing work ethic, and you do a lot to promote your shows.
Well, I'm naturally in marketing. I mean, every show that I do, we've all heard podcasts that are the same old thing, and like my attitude is, I am who I am. So if you don't like me, if you don't like my incessant cynicism and nihilism on Twitter, like, then it's not for you. It's not for you.
Right.
But I wake up in the morning, and just like with any other job, even though it is a creative endeavor,
yeah,
I wake up in the morning 8:15, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing the show today. I want to go back to sleep.
Right.
But I come from the entertainment industry, and you know the phrase very well. The show must go on.
Show must go on.
Right.
And you know, there's somebody like you, I think is rare in the podcasting space, in that you treat this very much like a business. I mean, it's fun. It's creative.
It's not a good business. It's not a good business.
It's not a good business. And see, it's funny that you say that, because there is a huge difference between an incredibly successful podcast, one that gets, you know, 6-figure downloads or close to it, or halfway there even, and one that gets a handful of thousands of downloads. That's, you know, as far as where those shows wind up and how they're promoted and who hears about them and how they get sponsorships, compared to shows that are just in the thousands of download ranges, there is a huge gap. It's like between the very rich and the very poor, you know, the 1% versus the 99%. It's very much, I think that's an accurate way to think of it. But it seems like, you know, your motivation is to go out there and produce something that's great, and produce it consistently and make it awesome. And I admire that. I admire that about you very much. I love your shows, and I think you do great work.
Well, thank you. I mean, I treat it the same way with doing comedy, that I've been doing stand-up, although not full-time anymore, but for 18 years. And in the same way in stand-up, like, you're going to spend 5 years just even like figuring out like the best way to write a joke.
Right.
Like, to get to the point where you could even get paid to do it. So if that'll take you 5 years just to get your creative juices and learn this thing,
mm-hmm.
like, to me, I view it as the same type of process. I've been doing this style of podcast, I guess, for 2.5 years. And then if I look at my stand-up comedy self at 2.5 years, I go, I don't do any of that material anymore.
Right.
You look back at that, and
it's old, right?
Right. Well, or it wasn't good enough. I'm so much better now. So once you take that approach, it's just, all you could do is just put in the work, show up every day, and you'll get better. You go with your natural style, and you build your audience. If people like you, they like you. If they don't, they don't. And what else are you going to do? My creative endeavors are built for me. Like, you know, I do my web design and marketing stuff. That's what pays the bills. That's what I'm good at. That's a skill.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love doing it, but I got good at doing that by doing that for 15 years.
So what do you think of the comments that people are making nowadays, where they're saying, you know, it's more about the quality of your audience as opposed to the size of your audience? In other words, it's better to have the 100 people or 1,000 people who are very loyal and who support and love everything you do, versus versus having 10,000 people who really don't care, you know. And if you think about that, cultivating that kind of an audience, getting those people who are lifetime fans, forever fans, whatever you want to call them, people who are just, they're really, truly supportive. I mean, what's your take on that? But I can tell you that for me, that's that's what I always hope for, is to get, I would rather have a quality audience that's very small of super loyal fans than a huge audience of people who are kind of blasé on the whole thing, you know?
Well, also, we don't live in the day and age where huge audiences are normal. I mean, everything's fragmented now. And
How so? How so?
Well, if you take a look at the Nielsen ratings, like they matter anymore. Take a look that there's no one like Howard Stern, for instance. I'm a big Howard fan. I used to, watch. I grew up in New York, watched even his Channel 9 WOR show when I was younger, and he's in the past, couple of months, he's been, complaining about podcasting,
right?
Kind of like, that's not the way to get into broadcasting. Go get the ratings book or whatever, and
right.
And it's like, he's making the point, like, you go to a station, you pull in 20 million listeners. And I'm like, well, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
There's not just 3 channels on the dial anymore. There's not just, everyone's not making their morning commute and they don't have a smartphone or an iPod or something on them. So if you're out to get that, wide audience, I mean, that they don't really exist. I mean, everything's much more fragmented. And I view it the same way with how I approached stand-up comedy before, that you'd travel around the road and you perform in front of a lot of people, and then it turns out that they don't remember who you are. So the next time you come to their city, it's not like you gained anything. You're still getting paid the same amount because you don't draw and no one knows who you are. So my attitude is you start from the bottom up. And then once you build enough leverage,
but you're crazy. People don't want to pay dues anymore. People don't want to pay their dues. They want to work their way up. They don't want to earn anything. They want to show up. They want to say, here's what they want to say. Let me straighten this out for you. They want to show up and say, I'm awesome. I have something to say. You should hear me and you should listen to me. And I should immediately be categorized and ranked along with the most influential people because Vine, because Twitter, because whatever, because I'm funny on Twitter. That means I am a stand-up comic and I need a TV show. That's how people think today. And you have the Kardashians and other people like that who are essentially confirming this. There are people who happen to be, for one reason or another, right place at right time, or they're influential because they have money, where they haven't actually done anything. And by the way, I'm not criticizing podcasting as an industry, but it's incredibly easy to go and get a microphone and submit your show to iTunes, and now you have a show out there. And I'm not upset about this but it sounds like I am, but I don't mean to say that I am. I think everybody should try and have a podcast and have fun with it. But it's like you're talking about, every single podcast that's out there is equivalent to, in many ways, a radio station or a TV station. And it's hard for the people who are just getting started, who have something that maybe they have paid their dues or they have put in their time or they have something that's great to say. How do they come up around the other shows that people are not taking it seriously? How do you say, here's a scenario I'm trying to describe. Take an 18-year-old kid, and let's say she's got something amazing to say, and she spends hours and hours editing and perfecting her podcast, and she does interviews, and she makes it really, really awesome, and she puts her heart and soul into this thing. And then she puts this on iTunes, and nobody finds it. It doesn't get new and noteworthy. It doesn't get promoted by anybody. And after 3 episodes, she says, man, I was doing this for myself, but it's just taking so much of my time and nobody is listening to this thing. And I know I'm doing it for myself, but I've only got 8 people who are downloading this thing. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And the reason isn't because her show wasn't amazing. It's because there's thousands of other shows out there that are all being submitted at the same time. How do you differentiate yourself? Is it as easy as just keep doing good work and keep showing up every day and somebody will find it?
Well, my 2 thoughts on that is, one, a quote from my father: "Life isn't fair." So that's the easy way out. But number 2, see, you're talking about, when anyone talks about any creative medium, like, but not just podcasting. This could be art, this could be writing, this could be music. Everyone's talking about either the technical aspects or the promotional aspects. So, in podcasting would be like, what microphone do you use, or how do you get more listeners? Like, that's like kind of the 2 ends of the spectrum. And since I'm biased because I'm a comic, and it's not something that you just, like, you have a great voice. You still have to learn the craft of what it is that you do. If you are looking to start a blog and you're like, how could I be better at this? It's like, you don't go on other blogs that teach you how to market or go to a writing class. at your local community college.
Yeah.
Learn how to write better. Learn, and in the aspect of just like the funny guy from The Office, that's like, I should do stand-up comedy. It's like, it's much different going on stage than it is talking by the water cooler. And you're going to have to go up. And like the first year of me doing comedy, when I was 17, I got up on stage over 400 times because it's New York and there's a lot of open mics. But these open mics, out of those 400 times, 360 times, you're performing in front of 3 other comics. You're performing at 1 a.m. to 3 drunk sailors that are barely paying attention because you're not entitled, no matter how good you are, you're not entitled to an audience.
Right.
You just have to go out, and if people like you and you are good and you get better, what ends up happening is that the opportunities fall in your lap.
Yeah.
And that's why a big quote that I typically say as advice, just in general, I'm not saying that I'm some type of oracle, is put yourself in the position to get opportunities. If you're good enough and you're working your way up and you're constantly trying to get better, the more that you're out there, the more likelihood, and I did that in comedy, you hang out at comedy clubs.
Right.
You don't have to spot that night. You're still hanging out. You're
right.
going
You're still
bang,
there.
bang, bang, meeting people. And then someone gets a phone call. This has happened multiple times to me. I'm talking to a comic that I've known for a year. He's a headliner. I'm a feature, in the comedy club space, like the guy that opens for the guy, whatever.
Right,
I don't have to explain that. And he'll get a phone call from a club or whatever booker that's like, oh, are you available on these 2 weekends, these 2 dates? And he goes, yeah, I'm available. And then he'll look at me and go, can I bring a feature? And then he'll look, and are you available? And then you get a gig because you just happened to be there. If you weren't there, that opportunity wouldn't have presented itself.
Right. And it's funny because there is always that quote, just show up or show up every day and do it every day. And this is the thing that when people ask me this question of like, how do I get my show in more downloads? How do I get a new and noteworthy, whatever? Like, if you're not doing a show, if you are just giving up, if you're not in a show, if you're not doing a show every day or every week or whatever your schedule allows for, then it's like it's like hanging out at the club. Like you'll never make it if you don't do that. So I don't know.
And also, if you don't have enough time, like the number one excuse is, well, I don't have time for that. Then just admit to yourself that you're not committed to it. It's fine. It's fine to do it as a hobby. It's also fine to say, it's not as fun as I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Or if you really love what it is that you do, I don't want to get on the passion life coach type of crap, but like the reason why at 9 a.m. that I do my show and I always produce a weekly, the Internet Outrage Machine and Tech Douchebags is because outside of my business and my fiance and my dog, I guess, like this is the priority.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing stand-up anymore. And a lot of comics are like, oh, when's the last time you did stand-up? It's like, I don't even remember. It's like, why aren't you going out and doing it? So I'm like, what's the point of me going up twice a month for I'm putting all my energy into this thing that I believe in.
Right.
So that's where my time is going rather than make up the excuse of, I don't have the time to put out a podcast.
Right.
It's like, no, that's what I'm committed to.
That's what you're doing.
What I'm going to be doing.
Yeah. Well, I love your stuff. And I want to, you've already got 2 shows here on 5x5, and now you're putting a third up. And we're doing this. This is going to be a little bit of an experiment, right? We're doing this one a little bit different.
It's just basically, it's syndication.
It's syndication.
Is
so
that
this
different?
Well, it is because this is the first show that we've ever like syndicated before. So you're like a pioneer in this space. You are the first syndicated podcast in the history of podcasting. Did you know that?
In the history of podcasting?
Yes, yes, it is in the history.
Oh, really?
Prove me wrong. I challenge any listener to prove me wrong. Well, listen, thank you for being here. Check out his stuff. First of all, it's where should people go to find your stuff if they want to go? You're on Twitter at Blenderhead, but it's BlenderHD.
Right.
Like high def. Blender high def. And then also you've got shows on 5x5. You've got Tech Douchebags, which is 5x5.tv/TDB. You've got Outrage Machine, Internet Outrage Machine. Just go to 5x5. You'll see him. He's all over.
You'll see. You'll see. Right.
You're the next generation of 5x5. It's you. So
that's a little sad.
I know. It's all right. I'm okay with it. So anyway, Jordan Cooper, thank you very much for being here. I sure do appreciate you taking your time out early on a Friday to be here.
No problem. I will never turn out an invitation to the best podcast.
The best podcast ever. Thank you, sir. Take care of yourself.
Okay.
Bye. He's great.
Oh, Jordan.
I like everything he does, universally. Universally. Let me tell you about something else I like. I like Harry's. HARRYS.com. And by now you know what Harry's is. They're a company that makes the most awesome blades in the world. They went and decided that shaving could be a better experience. Not just the shaving, but the whole purchasing process. That it didn't make sense to have to go to a grocery store or a drugstore and get someone to unlock a little case to allow you to buy blades that were, to be honest, subpar blades and overpriced blades. So they went to Germany and they found a company there that had been making some of the world's highest quality blades for a century, and they bought them. And then they cut the middleman out, and they just send you the blades. They send them to you. You get them in the mail, and they're amazing. $15 is how much you're going to pay for the starter kit. That gives you the really, really great razor and 3 blades, and then the cream or the gel. And you're going to get $5 off your purchase. $5 off if you use the code Dan Sent Me. It'll make it $10. Try and find a razor of this quality and blades of this quality for $10. You will not do it. They're really great. The packaging is awesome. I mean this as a compliment. If Apple were to get into the razor business, this is what they'd be making. So go check it out. Harry's, HARRYS, harrys.com / it's harrys.com. The code is Dan Sent Me. $5 off. How do you you use this kind of razor now? Didn't you steal your father's razor or something?
That sounds like a title to a short story. I stole my father's razor.
Yeah.
No. I want one. I'm planning on getting one.
Are you going to get one engraved?
I got one. Maybe.
Did you get Daddy's engraved?
Yes, I did. I got my dad's razor engraved.
You
for
get
him
the
for
3
Christmas.
initials, right?
Yes.
Could you get something besides the 3 initials? Do you know?
Like a picture?
No.
Or an emoji?
I wonder if they could do that. Because it just you type whatever you want. What if you type
if it's an emoji? I wonder what.
Okay, I authorize you, Hattie, to make a purchase with the 5x5 account.
Okay.
Go to Harry's
and
get
try
a starter kit. Use the code because we need people to use the
Yes.
code, even if it's us. Dan Sent Me. And try to type. You know how you can type some emojis in there. Type some emojis. Do you think it'll just turn out with just the box, the
or
square
like
box?
question marks?
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
I'll have to ask.
Do some like cool emojis. Don't ask. Just try
I'm
to
gonna
order.
do the poop emoji.
The poop.
Yeah.
Do the poop, the snowman, and another of your choice.
Okay.
We've got Virginia coming up, but first there's a couple more things I wanted to cover here that I think people need to know about going into the weekend. Amazon has won an approval to test delivery drones outdoors. They've been green-lighted to test them outdoors. They think it will still take years before the online retailer can start delivering packages. There's an article in the New York Times that goes into more depth here. And we've got a little picture here, if you're watching at home, of a delivery drone, which has the Amazon logo, the little smiley logo, and then it's got the little box underneath it. The Federal Aviation Administration on Thursday said, yep, you can do some test flights as long as you obey a bunch of rules, one of which is they have to fly at below 400 feet and only during the day. The idea of Amazon sending drones out at night in the dark
that seems really
scares
scary.
me a little bit, doesn't it?
It's weird that they've set not weird, but shouldn't they also set a minimum height too? Like, don't run into semi-trucks.
Oh, right. Like, they could just skim the surface
right,
of
like
the...
we're flying on the highway.
Not good.
Yeah.
But right now it's going to be over a piece of private property in rural Washington state. It isn't... they have disclosed it, but is not public. But I don't know. I mean, I think, the FAA coming in here and they've given similar approval to Hollywood film studios and other people that are using drones in their work. I don't know. I want more drones. I'm as opposed as I am to having a computer on my thermostat. I want drones. I want drones everywhere. I want drones doing everything. The idea of having a little, you spill something on the floor, there's a little vacuum robot that comes in and vacuums it up. I like that. But why limit it to the ground? Let them fly. That's what I'm always saying. Let it fly. So we'll see what happens with that. But I would love to, if anything that gets around having the USPS have to deliver something to me, I'm for. We have a package coming for our little GoPro. Sean McCabe told us about this GoPro. So we've got this right now. And so what I did is I took a microphone boom and I gaffer taped it to the top of the microphone boom. And it's got its wires and everything coming off of it going into our Wirecast switching machine, the Mac Pro. And it's not going to stay where it is right now in this shot that you're looking at if you're watching at home. But this thing is really great. If an Amazon drone could have brought that to me instead of UPS, I would have loved that. Facebook is going to be turning Messenger into a platform, according to TechCrunch and a bunch of other people. They're saying that next week at the F8 Developer Conference, they're going to be announcing new ways for third parties to offer experiences. Everything is about experiences now. Yeah, they're going to be offering experiences that we're offering. And we're not building apps. Let's get real, people. Facebook is a website and now an app, and Messenger is an app. You're not going to be building experiences and delivering experiences. You're adding features to an app. Let's just, come on. Yeah. Why do we have to talk like that? Why do we have to talk like that? It's stupid. Delivering an experience. It's ponderous, man. Third parties to offer experiences through its Messenger app. They hope to make Messenger more useful after seeing Asia's chat apps, WeChat and Line, succeed as I don't know. Here's another thing to me that we'll get to the Tinder thing in a minute. I'm always just, you look at a trend happens, right? Whether it's, like 15-second videos like Instagram and Vine have, or whether it's streaming stuff like Periscope and Meerkat. It's just like something will come out, and then immediately Facebook's like, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And they're smart. I mean, they're smart to do it, but it's like people don't see it as copying when it's, to me, feels like copying. I don't know. Maybe this is like an old-fashioned way to look, an OG way to look at things, right? But I don't know. I feel like there's, like, if I said, oh, you know what I'm doing now? Whenever someone walks into our office, I throw confetti up in the air. And it's like, if everybody else on the floor started doing that, I would too. But the next day, if everybody started doing the same thing, like our next door neighbors, the dentists, now they're throwing confetti. They're like, well, you got that idea from us. Well, no, we didn't. We always wanted to do confetti. That was our idea from the beginning. We just didn't do it. It just so happened we started the day after you. Like Facebook, it seems like they do this. They say, oh, well, there's WeChat is popular. We need to make something like WeChat. And I guess they're smart because they've got a lot of listeners. They've got a lot of users. So it makes sense for them to do that. But it just seems so obvious. It seems like they look for a formula and then they just, well, now we're doing that same thing. As opposed to innovation. And that's what I'm really getting at here is I want to see some innovation. Facebook itself was incredibly innovative. Facebook itself was not MySpace. It was something better than MySpace. It was something different than MySpace. In a lot of ways, it really does bring people together and allow for communication where communication wouldn't exist any other place. Like I found out the other day, Heidi, you told me about this. I'm sitting there and we went to the barbecue restaurant. It was great. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to steer people away from what's the one? Ironworks in downtown. Listen,
I feel like I shouldn't speak the name because now people will remember it.
I don't want anyone to go to Ironworks. I have nothing against Ironworks. They have every opportunity to turn this thing around. A long time ago, apparently, Ironworks was an amazing establishment, a quintessential downtown barbecue joint that delivered great barbecue. I never had that, except the one time I visited, I ate it there. I thought it was amazing. And then I realized, wait a minute, there's a lot of other great barbecue here in Austin that's so much better than theirs.
Light years beyond it.
And Hattie, what you said is, tell them the Italy thing.
Oh, eating at Ironworks is like eating at Olive Garden in Italy. It's, and I guess that's a little harsh.
No, I mean, it's true.
But if people are like, oh, I had barbecue in Austin, and because they're at South by or something, and the convention center is next door to Ironworks,
yeah.
Like that's, go a little further out, even, a couple blocks, and you'll find way better barbecue.
Yeah, I mean, it's still barbecue. It's still good. And anywhere else in the country, it would be considered good barbecue. But in Austin, it's piss poor. Piss poor barbecue.
Yep.
I feel like they have this great opportunity to innovate and do something different. Their location is great. They've got this great history. But that's what I want to see from like Facebook, you know. Anyway, so we went to the barbecue place, and it was good, and I said, you know, we need to post some of these reviews. So I went on to Yelp, and I put up a review of a couple of the barbecue places that I went to, and I also put up a bad review. I hate to do it, but I put up a bad review of the Ironworks barbecue place. And then after I posted them, Hattie, he's like, oh, you know, these are posting to Facebook too.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why. I mean, I guess I hooked up my Yelp
it
or something at one point.
It makes you sign up with Facebook, or I don't know what else. You can make a Yelp account, but it's just easier to sign up with Facebook.
Hattie, I never post anything to Facebook except by accident. And so as soon as I
didn't you have Spotify posting for a while?
I don't know why.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, posting every song my son listens to. Over and over and over. Darth Vader theme, Darth Vader theme, Darth Vader theme, Darth Vader theme.
Dan's has strange music
right.
tastes.
How many times are you going to listen to Darth Vader theme and Katy Perry in a day? Well, that's my son. But you know, and I got to the point where I'm like, I have to turn this off somehow, because people were starting to reply. They're like, "Oh, it's good to see you're using Facebook again," and yeah, I totally agree with your review. And oh, you know, like you don't even know about that, but like I want to see more innovation from Facebook. You know, something that's really, really different. Not just somebody else did this. We want to bring it to our users. Now we're doing it. And it's not enough for me. Shame on you, Facebook. Shame on you. Speaking of shame, Angry Birds. Rovio says profit fell 73% in 2014. You know why? Because it's 2015 and nobody wants an Angry Bird mug and nobody's going to collect them all. Nobody plays Angry Birds anymore. They have toys, clothing, brand licensing, and they have never been able to repeat the success of the original Angry Birds that launched in 2009. Operating profit fell to 10 million euros. We don't have Alexa plugged in, so we can't convert that. 36.5 million in 2013, 76.8 million in 2012. Falling. You know, we have a term in the music biz. We have a term for a company like that or game like that. It's called a one-hit wonder. Bye-bye, Rovio. You're not, you know, nobody cares. You need to innovate. Angry Birds was such an amazing game, so addictive. I mean, in my opinion, it put games for iPad on the map.
Yep.
You got your iPad, you had Angry Birds on it. You know what I mean? Like, that was the game you were going to play. It was perfect. Play it for 5 minutes, you play it for 2 hours. It was a great game. It's still a great game. It's just old. No one wants to play it anymore, right? But that game was amazing. My kid sometimes plays the Angry Birds Transformers, where you're running around. It's a completely different kind of game, but he's fed up with it. He doesn't play much anymore. And that's okay to be a one-hit wonder, but why do these companies have to go into merchandising? Why do they have to go in? Well, now we've got mugs, and we've got plush toys, and we've got this and the other thing, and these things sell, and then they staff up, and they're building up their business, and they're so far away from what they originally set out to do, which is make a good game. Why don't you just make a better game?
Right. Focus on making the game better, or changing the game to what people want now. Because I think a lot of people...
They have a movie, Hattie, coming out with Walt Disney.
People who...
And a spin-off TV series, an educational playground concept,
way too late.
And an animated movie.
No one's going to watch that. Sorry.
No, I'm with you. I agree with you.
It's too late. They had to come out with it like maybe 2 months after it really hit big.
Yeah.
After that, it's just no one's.
And even then, like building
watch.
a business around something like that's not your thing, you know. Like we do mugs and stickers and stuff, but that's like for fun. If I came out and said, well, now we're a mug business, people would be like, you're crazy. No one wants that many mugs.
Yeah.
No one wants mugs that much. Speaking of which, we're going to come out with a mug for the show. See this Roderick on the line? Look at this.
Aw. You have to do the same face he's doing.
Show like, oh, I can't do that.
He's going.
Mm-hmm. Tesla. We drove a Tesla. Did you drive one too, or did I
got
just
to drive it in the parking lot.
Dad lets me drive slow in the driveway.
Yeah.
Title. Dad lets me drive slow in the driveway. Tesla says it will now be, quote, impossible to run out of range unintentionally in a Model S. Is it Ellen or Elon?
I think it's Elon.
Elon Musk.
Elon?
Elon Musk, Mr. Musk, pledged to, quote, end range anxiety. Do you have range anxiety? Title. Do you have range anxiety? Basically, the Model S is going to run constant calculations on how far you are from a supercharger. And if you're going to drive too far from a supercharger to make it back to one, the car will warn you. So he's saying quote, this makes it effectively impossible for a driver to run out of range unintentionally. The car will actually double check. You have to say, yes, I'm sure, twice. It already tries to estimate how much time you've got left on your battery. It already tries to do that, and it's just an update. But now it will be impossible for you to make that mistake. This is coming in version 6.2 of your car. It also will have automatic emergency brake and a valet mode and a bunch of other things. There's a lot of cool stuff that's coming. Autopilot mode in 3 months. Autopilot mode.
What does that mean?
Well, it'll have automatic emergency braking, which will attempt to automatically stop the car if it detects you're about to slam into something, like another car. It has a blind spot and collision warning. And has valet mode. Valet mode reduces the car's crazy performance and locks it down, the center console's touchscreen, to hide data. So you put this into valet mode when you're going to valet park your car, and it will keep that Ferris Bueller scenario from happening.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
That's the best scene ever. The Ferris Bueller scenario title. You're getting these
I'm
titles
doing these titles, yeah.
but I shouldn't have to say it. Like, you're getting it right.
Yep.
Producer. It's been a while since you've been a producer.
I know.
It was a really long time. Anyway, I test drove this Tesla, and I highly recommend the experience. I showed you that Automan clip in the beginning of the show. With that's what it's like. This thing accelerates like I've not driven a lot of high performance sports cars. Beyond like the sedans that you could drive on a lot of a BMW or Audi, whatever, like those. But I've never like driven a Ferrari or something, so I can't compare it to that. But the acceleration, there's no gears, people. There's no gears in a Tesla. You put your foot on the gas and you just straight line acceleration. It is amazing how fast these things go, accelerating and otherwise. And I loved that car. Touchscreen was really cool. I would love to get one of these things. Super expensive. But self-steering. And here's what they say about the self-steering. Autopilot mode. We're pretty excited about the progress we're making. The main test route that we're evaluating is the San Francisco to Seattle route, and we're almost able to travel all the way from San Francisco to Seattle without the driver touching any controls at all. That's better than what my car does.
Yeah.
My car has the thing where you flip a little switch and it detects the road. I have an Acura MDX. And it detects the lines in the road, and it'll, like, if you're on the highway, it'll drive for you. It'll keep you a proper distance from the car in front of you. It'll keep you on the road so you can, like, let go of the steering wheel for a while. But this thing goes even further. Self-driving car. I'm more interested in the self-driving car than having a thermostat on my wall that thinks it knows whether I want it warmer or cooler. No, thank you, Nest. No, thank you. Heidi, are they a sponsor?
No.
No, thank you, Nest. I'm not interested. Prove me wrong. Listen, Nest, prove me wrong. Send me one. I'll put it up on the wall at home. And after a week of my family trying to destroy it and hating me, prove me wrong, Nest. It's one Nest. I'll get it set up. Richard Branson, this is the last thing before we get Virginia on. Richard Branson now says that Virgin, Sir Richard Branson.
Yes. Get it right.
No offense. Is now they're saying that they're going to.
Damn.
Did I get it? Did I get the yawn?
No.
He's not really confirming anything. He says, you never know. You may find Virgin competing with the Tesla in the car business as we do in the space business. We'll see what happens. Now, if Virgin came out with a car, I'll get that car. I'll get that in a heartbeat. Even if I can't afford it, I'll take out a mortgage on my house.
I still want to fly
Branson's
on
car.
Virgin.
Oh, right, because they've got that line. Where does it go?
does
San
like
Francisco?
Yeah.
You get in late, though. You get in super late.
Right, because it's like the party flight or something.
Yeah. All right, do you want to get Virginia on here?
Yep.
All right, I'm doing that, I guess. No, that's fine. I can do that.
You told me that
No, it's fine.
you're
I'll do it.
handling that
Whatever.
now.
It's your show. I told her to wake up. See if she's awake. It's quiet. It's too quiet.
Hi, Dan.
Oh, hi, Virginia. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Virginia Roberts, thank you for waking up early to be on the show.
Yeah, you got lucky. My cat woke me up anyway, so I happened to see your message.
Nice. Well,
Yeah, very helpful.
did you know that if I lived in San Francisco and owned a Tesla, that I could drive to you without touching the wheel or any controls in the car at all?
I'm gonna be like looking every time I see a Tesla now. I'm gonna be peering and seeing if it seems like somebody QAing, without actually driving.
Right.
I'm gonna be super,
I would be nervous, to be honest. I don't know if I trust that, but I'm willing to try it. It worked just fine for Will Smith.
I just stuck a link in the chat room, and it was kind of an interesting perspective. It was from this web comic artist who rode around in a Googled self-driving car for a while, and the way that he wrote about it made me feel a lot less freaked out by them. It sounds like they're
of the Google cars. How do you put that in the
self-driving cars in general, they seem better to me after reading a little bit more of a first-person account instead of just some tech blog about it.
Oh yeah, I totally do. Before Hattie booked a lot of sponsors for this show.
Yep.
It's like half sponsors now. So I've reprimanded her and said, Hattie, I love that
get
you're
on in there,
booking
pay the bills.
so many sponsors, Hattie. Thank you, but I think we're gonna cut it off at 2 or 3.
Okay, I can do that.
I mean, I love that you're out there selling for the show. It's great because it's costing a lot of money to do it. But let me tell you about Linda. Because we love Linda, and if you want to learn something, pretty much anything that involves not even just a computer. I mean, they're teaching things like going paperless, growth hacking fundamentals, income tax fundamentals. We always talk about the stuff that you can learn on computers. I always talk about things like Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro or editing a podcast in Logic or something like that. And of course, they have those things. I mean, they up and running with IFTTTTTTTTTTT. We've got that one. But I mean, if you want to learn anything, you can dive in. You can take one of their courses. They have these things split up into really bite-sized segments that you can really get into. And they also have more in-depth courses, intermediate and advanced courses taught by experts. So go check these folks out. Linda, Lynda, lynda.com/DBH. And you'll get a 10-day free trial during which you can watch all 3,000 of their amazing on-demand video courses, which you can download to your phone, download to your Android, tablet, whatever you want. Watch it on your computer. Linda, Lynda, lynda.com/DBH will get you 10 days free. Go check them out. Thanks very much to Linda for supporting this show. So who are you, Virginia? Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm an online dating coach.
Wait a minute. How does that work, and what does that mean?
What does it mean? It means a lot of different things.
Do people need to be coached on how to date? Apparently they do, because you've got a good business going.
I do, but here's the thing, Dan. Every dating site and app is kind of crappy in at least several important ways. So like in an ideal world, my job and my business wouldn't exist, but we're so behind at like actually helping people meet other people online without a bunch of BS that gets in the way that's kind of my role that I've created. Like I saw a need in the market and I filled it, but in an ideal world, I would put myself out of business by building better dating technology and like better, human interactions with that technology so that nobody did need coaching. But for now, they still totally do.
Well, so this is what you do then for a living, and you're finding people on the internet who need help, and you help them out. And is it mainly men? I would think it's going to be mainly dudes that are using your services. Is that safe to say, or is it women too?
I thought it was going to be mainly dudes. When I got started, I saw the problem existing in like the video game programmer community. My husband's a video game designer, and we'd hang out at a lot of like game industry networking things. And some of the people that also hung out at those were who I pictured my primary clientele being, but it's actually really broad. It's a broader age range, broader, gender demographic, broader sort of political affiliation. I help people kind of all over the spectrum.
Right.
say my favorite clients tend to be jackals, like nerdy guys, because I think I speak the same language. I'm part of that same, like, techo chamber. We're all kind of like nerdy in the same ways. But I
Right.
work with people all over the English speaking world from like, I don't know, in their 20s to like in their 60s. And I really didn't think that that was going to be the case, but it totally has been. So that's been an interesting surprise.
So if you were going to help Patty out with her dating situation, and
My dating
she were
situation.
to go to you, how would you start out with her if you were doing
Well,
this right now? What would she calls you and she's like, I need to be a better dater.
well, first of all, I'd make sure she wanted my help, but let's assume for the argument that she does and she's interested. I would ask her about an hour's worth of questions to try to figure out her personality a little bit better, even though I feel like I have a pretty good sense from, the frequency episodes and everything. It's I ask really specific questions, and then I would basically put her on a given site first or app or like a combination depending on her budget, her age, her personality, her religion, all sorts of stuff about her, who she wants to meet. And then I would help her set up a profile, mostly using answers to the questions that I'd already asked her. So it's like her words, but I string them together in a way that she might not think to do. I'd help her come
It's
up with
almost
good.
like, if I can say, it's almost like you're doing, I know this is a strange analogy, but it's almost like SEO for a person who's dating or
is.
something in a way, right?
Or it's
more
helping-
than, I mean, it's more than that.
Yeah.
But it's like if you were to come in and if I were to hire you, let's say you were like a, I don't want to say social media expert because that's such a weird thing. But if you were like somebody in marketing who really understood the internet and social media and these different things, and I was like, help me promote this thing that I have on the internet, you're almost helping someone put themselves out there in a way that makes sense. It's going to attract the
other
right kind of
people.
person, right?
Yeah, it is a lot like marketing for people, but I like to think of it in a little bit less douchey a way than that. Like I don't tend to be like, okay, well, let's track your analytics and like optimize for, I tend to also help with the long game of like, I want to help people find better connections, not just more connections. And there are a lot of people out there, like I think what Merlin calls the seduction community, who are
Right.
all about different sorts of romantic goals than mine. Like I'm really about, most of my people are coming to me looking to like find their life partner that they haven't found yet. Either they're
Right.
still single and kind of like antsy about it, or they're divorced or widowed and they're like starting over. But most people are looking for something pretty darn serious, and I'm
Mhm.
helping them figure out how to like avoid dating the same jerks that they dated in the past or whatever. So it's
Right.
really, it's much more human than the like optimization angle, but that is kind of it. And again, like this whole problem exists and needs to be solved because most dating sites and apps are still pretty crappy.
Yeah, no, they really are. And one of the things that that you sent me before we started the show, you found a couple articles here that I can put up on the screen. One of them is that apparently Tinder users here at South by Southwest were communicating with a woman who is in fact not a woman. She's a robot of some kind, and this is happening over Tinder. And this was was this an experiment that was done on purpose, or was it what was it? I mean, it's can you explain? It's a sci-fi film of artificial intelligence. What is this?
Right. So you nailed it. It's not actually a robot or like an experiment. It is an advertisement. And I think that that's why people are reacting so much to this, because when they suddenly realize that this cute girl who's been conversing with them in really interesting and kind of thoughtful ways that are
Mhm.
far more human seeming than a lot of the, people that you get to respond to you on Tinder. And then they suddenly realize that her whole shtick is marketing for a movie where that girl is the actress that plays like a science-y AI in the movie. They feel really duped, understandably. And, this is not the first time that Tinder has experimented with like allowing advertising to happen. And there are tons of spam bots and porn bots on Twitter, on Tinder, sorry.
Are there
So it's
really?
really, people get frustrated when they feel like they're not making real connections.
So I didn't know that. Tell me about that, because I don't. Yeah, obviously, I'm not like on the dating scene. So what's going on Tinder? I thought it was a wonderful, safe place for everyone to be.
I mean, I don't know if I would call it wonderful or safe, but it's definitely like addictive and effective. Let's go with that, right? Like you swipe your way through people. You swipe right if you like the look of somebody. And if they swipe right on you too, then you get a little message saying it's a match and you can communicate with each other. And you swipe left if you don't like somebody. And then when you're in that like little communication mode, like you basically just chat back and forth. And there's a very, very short area where you can have a little bio about yourself in Tinder. But for the
Right.
most part, it's all about pictures and like quick snap judgments as to whether somebody finds you cute based on the picture that you chose to
Is it,
put as your like main picture.
Okay, so is it mainly people who are like in the same town geographically, or is it has no such boundaries?
Well, that's an interesting question. They just introduced a new feature called Tinder Plus, where you can pay to swipe in a different location than where you're currently geographically located. And that's an interesting new functionality. It's sort of like, imagine you're going to be in Seattle for a vacation, but you normally live in Austin. Well, you can pay and you can swipe in Seattle to kind of like meet cool people in Seattle and maybe set up some dates while you're in town. I think that was their idea, but the actual use case for how people use that feature is a little bit less sophisticated. It's more like if you live in a crappy suburb of Austin and you want people to meet you in the cool, awesome parts and not think that you're lame because you live in some lame podunk town, then you just swipe in Austin in that way. And people get around that just by like playing with their zip code in Facebook, because you can only sign up to Tinder with Facebook.
Right. So they just
or they just swipe when they're in the cool neighborhoods, So it's kind of a silly feature for a lot of people.
So tell me about this this aging thing where they, and I covered this before, I think a week or so ago. But there is a new, if you're over 30, then you will, adding their premium feature, you will actually pay twice as much as what a 20-something is going to pay. And the person, you gave me another article for this, also in the show notes, who says, yes, Tinder's new pricing is ageist, pure, and simple. And they write, I first learned about Tinder as I approached my 40th birthday. A few 30-something divorcees I knew used it for the occasional hookup. A few others used it to actively seek out romantic partnership. For many of them, Tinder became an easy substitute for the usual online dating sites and offered quick, fun access to people they wouldn't otherwise meet. And then they continue, I think it's a woman who wrote this, right? Working single parent who spends a lot of time teaching, writing at home in yoga pants with apple slices and a jar of almond butter nearby, driving my teens to various activities, cleaning my kitchen, and doing my best to stay healthy and sane. And so she's upset that she's going to be paying more because of her age. I agree with that, but why? What is the, Virginia, what's the thinking?
Yeah,
why?
Bizarre.
Why charge more for someone who's 30, 35, 40 than somebody who's 20, 25?
I mean, their PR person, when this sort of outrage first emerged, basically said this is just a natural thing because 30-somethings have more disposable income than 20-somethings. And they likened it to services like Spotify that offer a discount for students. But I think that a student little metadata tag about you is a lot more reasonable to offer a discount for than old. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Of course people are going to bristle. It cracks me up because, IAC has a ton of money. That's the company that is behind Tinder and OkCupid and Match.com and a bunch of other properties, dating and just interesting tech startup world. They have money. They have marketing analysis. They have people. I'm really surprised that they launched with this kind of pricing disparity because obviously people are up in arms about it. And as this article shows, I think that Tinder thinks that it is for 20-something kids to hook up and
Right.
that is the bulk of their demographic.
Yeah.
And I won't dispute that that's a huge number
And
of their users.
wouldn't they know that because they're tied into Facebook? So wouldn't they understand that like this is the age, because your age is in Facebook, right? So I mean, they're
So
going
I'm
to know.
sure they have the numbers on that, and I'm sure that they decided that the value proposition of charging more for their smaller user base of older people was going to work.
Mhm.
But those older people are so mad, and it's just been cracking me up because it feels really tone deaf coming from an app that was initially marketed in like sororities and college campuses. Like
Right.
what a totally, I don't know, it feels like a mismatch. And you look at the people who are actually running Tinder, none of them have actually used online dating. They all kind of met their spouses way ages ago in the meet space.
Right.
And it sort of shows that maybe there's a little disconnect between how you're going to be perceived and what you decide to do for your bottom line.
Yeah, she says at the bottom of this article, she says, better yet, why not just be honest? Tinder's charging us, meaning people over 30, charging us more because it thinks we are desperate to find our last chance at love and willing to pay whatever it takes. She says, well, guess what? I'm not desperate enough to keep using Tinder now that I know it considers me a dried up old hag. The youngins can have it. And I honestly think this is something that people would have. It's a common opinion that I think people will have, especially because I'm not paying more in Spotify than somebody in college is paying for Spotify because I want to listen to the music that I grew up listening to, like classic rock or something. And I'm no different than any other Spotify listener. We're all using the same features. We're all using the same app. Some use it more, some use it less, but our age doesn't really matter. And I think that's also what bothers so many people is we're using the app and we're using it the same way. So why charge somebody more based on age? It's just, I
Yeah,
can't.
that makes no sense
It
to
makes
me.
no sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can understand charging more because you're getting more. I can understand charging more because you want to create a sense of exclusivity or prestige, but give us something more. I just don't see how they can reverse. Are they going to reverse this decision? It's just a strange decision to make. Are they going to reverse this? Do you think, or is this out there and this is just what it's going to be?
I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them come down on the pricing for 30 somethings and plus, but only time will tell. I think it's an interesting time to pay attention to this because they're trying to figure out how to make money with this enormously popular thing that they've built that's been free. And I think there are ways to do that, but so far, most of the ways that they've implemented are either kind of ineffective or downright shady. One of the other changes that happened with Tinder Plus is that they introduced a swipe rate limit and you have to pay for Tinder Plus to like go beyond that ceiling. And that wasn't present before. So it almost feels like some of the kind of nefarious tactics that free-to-play games on mobile use. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel good to people. So a lot of people I see are complaining about it. And of course, they're still using it, but they're only using the free version. So we'll have to see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them even out the pricing for everyone. And I wouldn't be surprised if the pricing came down from $9.99 to something more like $5.99. But, I'm not
Yeah.
a pricing nerd and I'm an online dating nerd. So
Right.
we'll just have to keep an eye on that.
So speaking of online dating, you have a new show coming out on 5x5 that we wanted to announce. We mentioned it yesterday, but it is called Steady. And
Yeah.
tell me about the show. And people can go, by the way, to 5x5.tv/steady to subscribe to it if they want. It'll be in iTunes. It can't be in iTunes until we add that first episode, but they can subscribe to the RSS in any app or iTunes or whatever. But I love the artwork for it. And you and Hattie collaborated on that, I guess, to make it so cool. But this is a great artwork. I love it. Good work, Hattie.
Oh, thanks.
And
I hope you like
Yeah,
it, Virginia.
absolutely.
yeah, I hope you like it because you're stuck with it now. But tell us about the show and when it premieres, and then we'll let you get going for your day.
Well, we're going to do it on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific. That's 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'm super, super excited. I've been playing around with podcasts kind of to speak to what Jordan was saying earlier. I've been hustling at this and experimenting, and I had a podcast for a while, but it really wasn't meeting my needs of what I wanted a show to be, because what I really want it to be is a way that I can help people who can't afford to book my services. I have a lot of people who are broke, just like Tinder does, but instead of, it's like I don't want to expressly charge more based on age or whatever. Like what I want to be able to do is offer a limited way to help people out who have questions, who maybe don't want to hire me one-on-one for like some of my more advanced online dating help packages, but they want to bounce a relationship question off me. I've been doing this basically for free and friendly whenever people ask me for the past couple of years. And I'm really excited to have a show where people can call in live and other people who are listening can maybe find some help in the answers that I give, or maybe they can get emboldened to call themselves. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You've done a live call-in show with this here and with Grit in the past. And I think that's a totally different and fun energy. And I'm excited to, put a drop in that bucket on 5x5. So thank you so much for bringing me on.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun because we've never really done a show like this. And that's, we talked earlier about innovation and, I'm excited to try something different. It's really different. And I've always been a big fan of the live stuff. I've been a big fan of what I think of. For me, my favorite podcasts are I love radio shows. I grew up listening to radio shows and I love it. And I think it's still a thriving medium for sure. And now it's time shifted. So I think of this as like time shifted radio. That's what this show is. And in hopefully all the best things of radio without the stuff that we don't like. And this is a really cool program that you're doing that I think could only really exist in the live and podcast space. So we're really excited. I'm glad you want to do it, and it was a great idea, and we're thrilled to have you here. So thanks very much. Go check out Virginia. She is on Twitter, Ask Virginia on Twitter, and she'll be here at 5x5.tv/steady. So thanks very much for being here, Virginia. It was always great to have you.
Well, thank you so much, you guys, and good luck with the show. I'm really enjoying the video. This is my first
Thanks.
time watching you live, so
Yeah.
keep it up. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. Take care. Bye.
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 She's great.
Oh, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. I got a tweet from a guy I'd like to read because
Please tweet it.
the whole thing about this show is about interacting with the listeners. And people have asked why we aren't doing calls yet. We've got set up for the calls, and we'll be starting them, I think, next week when we launch some of the new segments. Now that we're on the new time, I feel much more awake.
You feel more awake?
Do you
I
feel
feel
more
a little
awake?
less awake, but I'm
Do you
not
really?
yawning as much.
Well, we got you yawning on camera today.
Not really.
Yeah, we did.
No.
And someone else tweeted me and said that we got you yawning on camera yesterday.
Well,
Mike Auty, A-U-T-Y, Mike Auty, says, do people really like seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff at the beginning? I tuned out after a minute 30 of you guys setting up for what it's worth. So I replied to him. I said, yes, people seem to really enjoy it. And we enjoy giving you guys a behind-the-scenes shot of what we do. I always loved that. Some of my favorite shows that I always watched anytime I could watch behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm a huge fan of that. I love to see how things are made, whatever it is. Those videos that Jim Coudal put out for the field notes, showing how the field notes were made. I bought way more field notes after that because it's just so cool.
Yep.
It gave me an appreciation for what goes into something like that. And so that's what we're trying to do here. The whole video is behind the scenes. If you're tuning in expecting the Tonight Show, I'm sorry, this is not going to be the Tonight Show, right? I mean, as far as I know.
The video part of it, we're not producing.
This is not ESPN.
Right. Hello, welcome to the damage. That's not what we're doing.
I do kind of like that. We should do
I
that.
like looking at the camera sometimes, if you're making a point or making a face. Or yawning even. But this is supposed to be like,
But this is us
what
making
are
a
we
show.
doing?
This is us making a show
what goes into
with the
it.
addition of we've got video, and this is how a show gets made. You
Behind
can watch
the
and
scenes
hang
is
out.
always my favorite
And
on anything.
I mean, honestly, people who are as good looking as me need to be on camera. That's the other big thing. That's a big push. I learned that from George Clooney. 4 spots, really, on this? That's a lot
You
of
only have
sponsors
3
for
next
that's
week.
why 3 is fine. Because I had to push the show an extra 30 minutes to fit them all in. Let me tell about 5-4 Club. I do like these guys a lot. And I'm going to start wearing my 5-4 Club clothes, specifically on the shows that they sponsor. I think that's the reason. Then we can have that little message at the end in the credits. Dan Benjamin's
Clothes.
wardrobe provided
Yes.
by
5-4 Club.
5-4 Club.
I
And that's
like
what they do. They provide, and this is, they're going to have to run with this. They don't send clothing. They provide a wardrobe.
I like that.
And I think that's important because guys like me, and I think guys in general, don't like to shop. We don't like that. We don't want to shop. We just want to open the closet. There's some new clothes in there. And they fit me and they look good and I don't have to think about it. That's what guys want. That's the secret to all guys. 5-4 Club delivers that. You go there, you fill out a quick profile, and under 60 seconds, they know what to send you, and they send it to you. $120 worth of clothes for $60 a month. Then you're going to save $20 at get54.com. That's spelled out F-I-V-E-F-O-U-R. Get54.com. You're going to save $20 with the code DAN20 off. DAN20 off. Save $20. Get your first box of clothes for $40 instead of $60, and it's $120 worth of clothes. Thanks very much to 5-4 for making this show possible. Hattie, 3 spots a show.
Done.
No more. And thanks very much to our guests, Jordan Cooper and Virginia Roberts, or Robertson.
As you call
We
her.
appreciate both of them taking their time out to be here. I like this new time, whether you like it or not, Hattie, and whether the listeners like it or not.
I like this.
The reason that I
slot.
like it is because we can record early in the day. We've got time to do our post-production, and then people are listening to it at lunchtime or on their drive home, and it's relevant. It's more relevant to them than the next day.
I agree.
And the video is out the same day, too. So they can get home and watch the video at night while they're eating dinner alone in their apartment in their underwear. And if they're out in the world, then they can listen to it at lunch on their lunch break or when they're driving home. I think it's the perfect thing. Why didn't I think of that before? Because I'm dumb. I'm too dumb to think.
No, I think
ahead
you
like that.
listened to the chat room.
The chat room doesn't know anything. Those guys are the worst in there, the jackals.
They know
jackals.
All the things.
They don't know anything. They're the worst. Everybody in the chat room deserves, if you come into the chat room during the show live and you're watching live, you deserve something. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to, this weekend, Hattie will be designing the Dan Benjamin Hour mug. And Monday, we will premiere the mug.
Okay.
And the people
the digital comp.
Yeah, we won't have a real one yet.
Right. I'm okay.
And we'll premiere the mug during the live show. I will tweet about the time and everything else to remind everyone. During the live show, we will tweet about the mug. And anyone who stops by to watch live and comes into the chat room will learn about the secret promo code that will make the mug cheaper or maybe even free to them.
Woo.
That's my plan.
I like that plan.
So thanks for tuning in. DanBenjamin.com gives you lots of different feeds to choose from. The audio feed, the video feed. We're working on a lower bandwidth video feed so that people who don't have tons and tons of bandwidth, you could download something that's maybe 480p instead of 720 or whatever. We're working on that. And we'll also be breaking out the show into those little segments and doing a best of. So I hope to have the first best of the week for people who, like Hattie, can't put in a full commitment of listening to all the shows.
I'm fully committed.
Just like Hattie. Maybe we'll call it the Hattie feed for people who can't commit to hearing 5 hours a week. That's okay. We'll give you an hour a week, condensed, just the best of what happened this week. So we'll put that feed there. It's all going to be at danbenjamin.com. So go there, subscribe to the shows there. And we thank you very much for listening. And thanks for checking out our sponsors. Thanks for being here. We will be back on Monday with some news about what's happened in the world of technology. So thanks very much for being here. And we'll see you soon.